The girl's dress hung in tatters when she stumbled onto Marcus Wade's porch. Blood trickled from a split lip, and dirt streaked her cheek like war paint. She couldn't have been more than 17, with hair the color of autumn wheat and eyes that carried too much knowing for someone so young. "Please," she whispered, clutching the torn fabric to her chest. They tried to, her voice cracked, and she swayed on her feet like a sapling in a storm. Marcus caught her before she fell, his weathered hands steady on her trembling shoulders. In 37 years of living hard in the Wyoming Territory, he'd seen plenty of broken things, horses, men, promises. But something about this girl's shattered dignity hit him deep, like a punch to the gut. "Easy now," he said, his voice rough as gravel. "You're safe here." She looked up at him, and for a moment, he saw something flicker in her eyes, hope, maybe, or the desperate need to believe him. "They said no one would help me," she whispered. "That I was nothing." Marcus heard the rest in the silence between them. He'd built his ranch 15 miles outside Millbrook for a reason. People were messy, dangerous. Cattle were simpler. They didn't lie or hurt each other for sport. But as he looked at the broken girl on his porch, something old and protective stirred in his chest. Something he thought had died with his sister Sarah 20 years ago. "What's your name?" he asked. "Emma. Emma Hartley." She straightened her spine, trying to find dignity in the ruins of her appearance. "My pa ran the general store in town, before the fever took him last month." Marcus knew Hartley's store. Good man, fair prices, kind to everyone. Which meant this girl was alone now, vulnerable as a newborn calf in wolf country. "Who did this to you?" he asked. Emma flinched at the hardness in his tone but met his eyes. "The banker's sons. All 3 of them. They said I owed them payment for pa's debts." Marcus felt something cold settle in his bones. He knew those boys, rich, entitled, used to taking what they wanted. Apparently, they'd decided they wanted Emma Hartley. He led her inside, settling her at the kitchen table while he heated water and gathered clean rags. His hands shook, not from fear or age, but from rage building like steam in a kettle. "You can't go back to town," he said, dabbing at the cut on her lip. Emma's eyes widened. "I have nowhere else to go. The store's all I have left." "The store can wait," Marcus said quietly. "Those boys will come looking. Next time, they might not stop at tearing your dress." She flinched but didn't argue. "Smart girl. Why are you helping me?" she asked suddenly. "You don't even know me." Marcus was silent for a long moment. Memories of Sarah flickered through his mind, his little sister, barely 16 when the soldiers came through. He'd been away buying cattle. By the time he returned, it was too late. "Because I know what happens when good people do nothing," he said finally. Emma nodded. Something unspoken passed between them. "What do we do?" she asked. "You'll stay here where it's safe," Marcus said. "I'll go talk to the Bancroft boys." "No," she grabbed his wrist, her fingers strong despite her trembling. "If you confront them, they'll deny everything. It's their word against mine, and everyone in town knows who has the power." She was right. The Bancrofts owned half of Millbrook, the bank, the saloon, probably the sheriff too. "Then what do you suggest?" he asked. Emma's eyes hardened. "We make them think I disappeared. Meanwhile, I'll gather proof, letters, ledgers, anything that shows what they've done to other girls." "Other girls?" Marcus asked. Emma gave a bitter laugh. "You think I'm the first? The baker's daughter left town 3 months ago. The preacher's niece too. Everyone said they went to live with relatives." She shook her head. "They didn't." Rage burned in Marcus's chest. A sickness hidden behind money and respectability. Then came the sound of hoofbeats outside, multiple riders moving fast. Dust rose on the horizon like a storm. "They've found you," he said. "Upstairs." Hide in the loft above my room. Don't come out, no matter what you hear. Emma moved like a ghost up the stairs. Marcus checked his rifle and stepped onto the porch. 6 riders approached, the 3 Bancroft boys, 2 hired guns, and Sheriff Coleman. Thomas Bancroft, the eldest, smiled. "Afternoon, Wade. We're looking for a girl, Emma Hartley. Heard she came this way." Marcus leaned against the railing, rifle resting casually in his arms. "Ain't seen any girl. What's she done?" "Stole money from the bank," said James, the middle son. "Strange," Marcus said mildly. "Didn't know she worked there." "She had access through her father's accounts," the youngest muttered. "Her father's been dead a month," Marcus replied. "Don't reckon those accounts are active." Sheriff Coleman spat in the dust. "Look, Wade, we just need to ask her some questions." "Sure," Marcus said with a cold smile. "If I see her, I'll let you know. Try the old mining camps." Thomas's jaw tightened. "We'd like to search your property." "You got a warrant, Sheriff?" Coleman's face reddened. "Don't need one if you've got nothing to hide." Marcus straightened. "Funny thing about the law. A man's property is his castle. Uninvited guests ain't welcome." The hired guns tensed, hands drifting to their weapons. Thomas hesitated, then forced a smile. "We'll be going, Wade. But if you're harboring a criminal, that makes you an accessory." Marcus's smile was sharp as broken glass. "I understand plenty, boy. Question is, do you?" When the riders were gone, Marcus found Emma sitting on his bed, tears streaming down her face. "They called me a thief," she whispered. "My father was the most honest man alive." "Everyone knew it," Marcus said gently. "That's why they're trying to ruin his name. Can't have folks remembering him as good." Emma wiped her eyes. "What am I going to do? I can't hide forever. We'll figure it out." Marcus pulled a small photograph from his pocket, a young woman with kind eyes. "This was my sister Sarah." "What happened to her?" "The same thing that almost happened to you," he said softly. "Men who thought they could take what they wanted." Emma touched the photo. "It wasn't your fault." "Maybe not. But I won't let it happen again." He looked her in the eye. "I'm going to help you. Sarah would have wanted that. She looks like she was wonderful." "She was," Marcus said, tucking the photo away. "Wanted to open a school. Teach kids to read. Said learning could change the world. She would have liked you," he added quietly. They sat in silence as the sun bled gold across the plains. "I have an idea," Emma said suddenly. "About how to stop them." "I'm listening." "The bank records, all the loans, all the payments. If we can get inside and find proof, we can expose them." "Breaking into a bank's a hanging offense," Marcus warned. "So is what they've been doing to girls like me," Emma said, her voice calm. "The difference is, they've been getting away with it." Marcus studied her face and saw not a scared girl anymore, but a woman, strong and determined. Maybe, he thought, they had a chance. The bank stood silent under a moonless sky. Marcus and Emma crouched in the alley. "You sure about this?" Marcus whispered. Emma nodded. "The back window's broken. Pa always said Bancroft was too cheap to fix it." They slipped inside. The air smelled of dust and money. Emma went straight to the ledgers. "Here," she breathed, opening one. By lamplight, they read everything: crooked deals, forged signatures, names of every girl forced to pay her family's debts in other ways. And more, letters from banks in Denver and San Francisco. This was bigger than Millbrook. "Sweet Jesus," Marcus muttered. "This goes all the way to the territorial government." Emma copied names and figures fast. "We need to get this to the marshals." Then they heard boots outside. Marcus blew out the lamp, grabbed her hand, but the door crashed open. "Well, well," Thomas Bancroft said, stepping in with his brothers and the sheriff. "Look what we got here." Emma straightened. "Funny," she said, voice steady. "I thought you were smarter." She held up the papers. "You kept records of everything you did. Every girl you ruined." Thomas's face went white. "Give me those papers." "Or what?" Emma's voice rang through the room. "You'll do what you did to Sarah Wade 20 years ago." Thomas froze. "These copies," she said, bluffing hard, "are already on their way to Denver. The marshals will love reading about your crimes." Thomas hesitated. His brothers shifted nervously. "You're lying," he said, but there was fear in his voice. "Am I?" Emma smiled, a wolf's grin. "Guess you'll find out when the marshals arrive." Thomas lunged. Marcus's fist met his jaw with a crack. The sheriff raised his gun, but Emma hurled the lamp at the wall. Fire erupted in a burst of light and smoke. They dove through the back window and ran into the night. 3 months later, the marshals had done their work. The Bancroft name was ruined. Half the territorial officials were in chains. Emma stood before the ruins of her father's store, holding deeds and a bank draft, the government's payment for her help in exposing one of the biggest corruption scandals in the West. "You could rebuild," Marcus said from the doorway. "I could," she said, smiling softly. "Or, I could invest in a cattle ranch outside town. Heard one's looking for a partner." "Partnership serious," Marcus said. "Got to trust your partner completely." "I do," she said simply. "Do you trust me?" Marcus didn't answer with words. He just took her hands, strong now, sure, and held them tight. Years later, when folks in Millbrook told the story, they always ended it the same way, with Marcus and Emma Wade standing on their porch, watching the sunset paint the sky gold. Some said it was justice that brought them together. Others said fate. Marcus knew better. It was choice, the choice to stand up when it mattered, to protect the innocent, and to build something good from the ashes of something rotten.